In this lesson, we are going to learn another important topic, and that is estimation. Recall from our previous class or previous classes. In one of the classes, we talked about rounding off whole numbers, which is useful in doing calculation in our everyday life. And in the other class, we talked about rounding off decimal numbers. So all of that is trying to get an approximate value of calculations. So another way of getting an approximate value of calculation is estimation. So for example, in order to do calculation much quickly without a calculating device like a calculator, it is a handy practice to round numbers in such a way that the calculation becomes much easier. Now look at this number, 63 multiplied by 378. If we don't have a calculating device to do this on our head, will take us a lot of time. But when we round this number to the nearest, in this case, this one to the nearest 10, and in this case to the nearest 100, it will become very, very easy to do the calculation. So the actual value of this calculation, if we use a calculating device, or if we can do it on our head, the actual value is 23,814. On the other hand, when we round this to the nearest 10, which is 60, and we round this to the nearest 100, which is 400. Of course, we can do this calculation on our head without a calculating device. It is much easier to do this than to do this. And then look at the difference in the answer. This is the actual value. This is the estimated value. You see that the difference is not much. The difference is less than 200. This is the actual value, 23,814, and the estimated value is 24,000. The difference between this number and this number is just 200 and something, just about 200. It's not even up to 200, 100 and something. So what am I saying in essence? Estimation is very, very handy in our day-to-day life when a calculating device is not available. It's much easier to round numbers to the nearest 100 or to the nearest 1,000, depending on the number, and then doing your calculation. So let's use that to answer some questions. I have example 1 here. It says, give the estimated value for the following calculations. The estimated value. The first one, 62 multiplied by 19. Since we are concerned about the estimated value, remember the essence of doing this is to make our calculation much easier. So I'm going to round 62 to the nearest 10. I also round 19 to the nearest 10. So 62 to the nearest 10 is 60, because the next number to 6 is 2. 2 is now up to 5. So we round to 0. Remember from our previous class, we say any digit between 0 and 5 round to 0. 0 and 4 rather, round to 0. 5 from 5 to 9 round to 1. So rounding 62 to the nearest 10, 2 round to 0. So 62 to the nearest 10 is 60. Then 19 to the nearest 10 is 9 round to 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So 19 to the nearest 10 is 20. 60 multiplied 20 is 6 times 2 is 12. Then put the 0 behind the 2 zeros. 1,200. You see how easy it is to multiply this number without a calculating device. So that is the essence of using estimation. It makes the calculation much easier and faster. So the second one, 270 multiplied by 38. Here I'm going to round 270 to the nearest 100 and 38 to the nearest 10. I'm using 100 here because I have 3 digits, which is 270. Here I have 2 digits. So I'll round this to the nearest 100. I'll round this to the nearest 10. So 270 to the nearest 100 is 300. How did I get 300? 7 is in this range. Any number from 5 to 9 round to 1, then add the 1 to the next digit. So 7 round to 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. That makes 270 to the nearest 100 to become 300. And multiply by 38 to the nearest 100. 8 round to 1. 1 add to this is 4. So multiply by 40. 38 to the nearest 100, to the nearest 10 rather, is 40. 3 times 4 is 12. Then put the 0 behind. How many 0? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So this is 12,000, the estimated value. And we'll move on to the third one, which is 4,454 multiplied by 384. Here I'm going to round this to the nearest 1,000, and I'll round this to the nearest 100. 4,452 to the nearest 1,000 is 4,000 itself. Why? The number next to 4, remember when you want to round this number to the nearest 1,000, recall from our class on rounding whole number, I have 4, 4, 5, 2. We want to round this to the nearest 1,000. So we locate the digit that is in 1,000 position. 2 is in unit position. 5 is in tens position. 4 is in 100 position. 4, this last 4 is in 1,000 position. So we want to round to the nearest 1,000. We locate the digit that is in 1,000 position, which is this 4. Then the next digit to it is this 4. This 4 is in the range of 0 to 4, which round to 0. 0 plus 4 is 4. That makes 4,452 to become 4,000 to the nearest 1,000. Then multiply by 384. I will round that to the nearest 100. 384 is 400 to the nearest 100. 400. Why? Because look at it. The 100 position here, 384 is a unit position, tens and 100 position. 3 is in 100 position. The next digit to it is 8. 8 round to 1. 1 plus this is 4. So that makes 384 to become 400 to the nearest 100. Now let's multiply this number together. 4 times 4 is 16. Then let's add up this 0 behind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which means this number 4,000 multiplied by 400 is 100, and this my comma is not supposed to be there. That is not the position. Let me write that properly. I have 1.6 million. 1.6 million. Then lastly, question D, I have a 653 multiplied by 984. 653, I will round up to the nearest 100, which is 700. 5 round up to 1. 1 plus 6 is 7. So 700 multiplied by 984. I'll round it again to the nearest 100, which is 1,000. Why? 8 round up to 1. 1 plus 9 is 10. So 1,000. That number, this number is close to 1,000. Now 7 times 1 is 7. Then we'll put 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is 700,000. So these are the estimated value of this calculation. Now, if you have a calculating device with you, you can do the actual value. You will discover that the difference between the estimated value and the actual value will not be much. So estimation helps us to do calculation quickly, even though the answer will not be the actual answer. Okay, so that is that. Let's move on to the next example. You see, approximate the following and find the difference between the actual answer and the estimate. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to get both the actual answer. Let me use it, use a table to do that. On one side of the table, I'll have actual answer, actual answer. On the other column, I will have estimated answer, estimated answer. For the actual answer, I will use a calculator. So let me bring out a calculator from my system. Okay. So the first one, I have 7,237 plus, let me use calculator, 7,237 plus 2,000, 2,786. 2,786. I don't think my screen recorder is picking the calculator. So if you have a calculator with you, you can use your calculator to also do the calculation, do the actual answer, then the estimated answer. So that gives us 10,023. 10,023 for the actual answer. For the estimated answer, I'm going to round this number to the nearest thousand, which is 7,000. Why? Look at the position. 7 is in the thousand position. The next digit to it is 2. 2 round to 0. So I have 7,000. Then plus this other digit, I'll round it to the nearest thousand also. This is the position. 2 is in the thousand position. The next digit to it is 7. 7 round up to 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. So 7,000 plus 3,000, which is 10,000. You can see the difference is not much. The difference is just 23. That is the actual and the estimated. So that is that for question A. And let's move on to question B. Again, I'll use calculator to get the actual answer. And that is 181.3 minus 52.7. 128.6. 128.6. That is the actual answer. For the estimated answer, I will round this number to the nearest. This is 180, 181. I'll round it to the nearest 100, which is 200. 200, let me do it here. 200 minus. This one, I'll round it to the nearest 10. This is 5 is in the 10 position. The next digit to it is 2. 2 round to 0. So this number to the nearest 10 is 50. Of course, 52.7 is very, very close to 50. So 200 minus 50 is 150. 200 minus 50 is 150. So the estimated answer is 150. The difference is not much. The difference is about 20 or so. Okay, that is the difference. The actual answer and the estimated. Then for the third one, again, let's use calculator to get the actual answer. That is 46.53 multiplied by 1.92. 89.3376. 89.3376 as the actual answer. Then the estimated answer, I will round this number to the nearest 10. I also round this to the nearest 10 or the nearest whole number. So here, the nearest 10 here is 50, and the nearest whole number here is 2. 50 times 2 is 100. You can see the difference between 89.3373 and 100 are not much. That is about 11 or 2. And lastly, 5,573 divided by 83. Let's use a calculator to get the actual value. 5,573 divided by 83. 83 by 67.1445. 67.1445. For the estimated answer, I will round this to the nearest thousand. As 5,573 to the nearest thousand is 6,000 divided by 83 to the nearest 10 is 80. 6,000 divided by 80, that will be divided by 80 is 75. 75. You can see again the difference between 67 and 75 is just 8. So that is how to do estimation. The essence is to make our calculation faster and easier, although the answer is not going to be the same thing with the actual answer, but the difference will not be much. And that brings us to the end of this class. I hope to see you in our next class.